Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. We're going to be talking today about your emotional well being. How is it that you can build good emotional health? A topic which is very, very important in today's day and times. This is World Mental Health Month. Everyone is talking about how you need to start taking care of your mental health, your well being, and an integral component of that is your emotional well being. इमोशनल वेलबींग से हमारा मतलब होता है कि किस तरह से आप चीज़ों को देखते हैं, हाउ डू यू परसीव सिचुएशंस, किस तरह से आप उनके बारे में सोचते हैं और किस तरह से वो आपके अंदर कुछ इमोशंस क्रिएट करते हैं. व्हाट आर द फीलिंग्स दैट गेट क्रिएटेड विद इन यू एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ द सिचुएशंस दैट यू आर गोइंग थ्रू. It's very important for us to keep focusing on emotional health and well being. There is so much research which suggests that your emotional well being is going to be linked to how is it that you're being able to navigate through the different situations of your life. किस तरह से आप अपने आप को देख रहे हैं, whether you feel that you are confident and comfortable in working through the different situations of your life, whether you're feeling that you will be able to manage the stressors that are coming your way, because our everyday lives have so much going on within them. इतना कुछ चलता रहता है कि कहीं ना कहीं पे किसी तरह का तनाव बनता रहता है. एंड अगर आप इमोशनली हेल्दी फील कर रहे हैं, यू थिंक दैट यू आर बीइंग एबल टू मैनेज योर इमोशंस, यू बीइंग एबल टू टेक केयर ऑफ योर फीलिंग्स, यू आर एबल टू मेक श्योर दैट you are being able to target those situations in a much better way. So your productivity goes up. You're able to do your tasks in a better manner. You're able to ensure that whatever you need to do in terms of the relationships you have are being taken care of. So your emotional well-being as a component of your overall mental health has a very significant association with every aspect of your life. आपके जिंदगी के हर एक पहलू का बहुत ही इंटीग्रल एस्पेक्ट है ये. सो इसको निग्लेक्ट करना बिल्कुल सही नहीं होता है. एंड दिस इज समथिंग दैट ऑफन गेट्स इग्नोर्ड. और हमें ये जानने की ज़रूरत है कि क्यों ऐसा होता है. मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं पे हम लोग अपनी रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में फीलिंग्स को ज़्यादा एम्फेसिस नहीं देते हैं. A lot of times when you ask someone what are you feeling in a situation, people struggle to label that emotion. टिपिकली आप बोलोगे कि मेरे दिमाग में ये सोच आ रही है या फिर देयर इज दिस सिचुएशन जो मुझे इफेक्ट कर रही है. यूजुअली व्हाट डज नॉट एंड अप हैपनिंग इज identifying the feeling state. And our vocabulary for understanding the emotions we go through is a lot of times very limited. आप सैड बोल दोगे, हैप्पी बोल दोगे, गुस्से में हो बोल दोगे, नाराजगी एक्सपीरियंस हो रही है, इरिटेबिलिटी है. These are the words that we use most often. But what we don't realize a lot of times is that there are so many other words in the vocabulary that can describe the kind of emotional experiences we are having. And the only way you can start utilizing those vocabulary words is going to be if you start becoming more aware of what is it that is happening to me. Which also means that sometimes you need to slow down the pace at which you are running in your life, the multiple things that you're doing, the different roles that you are taking part in. It's very important to try and slow down and allow yourself to ask that question of your own self, that what is this situation doing to me? What is it making me feel? How is it making me experience what I am going through, the different situations that I am a part of, the different relationships that I am a part of? When you start asking those questions, you start becoming more able to label those feeling words. You are able to then utilize better words to be able to define, describe what is happening to you. That will allow you to be able to also communicate about that. जब हम जिंदगी में मुश्किलों से निकलते हैं, डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशंस में से जा रहे होते हैं, we struggle to be able to communicate effectively. Once again, because a lot of times we don't have the right words to describe what is happening to us. और हमें लगता है कि हमारे आसपास जो लोग हैं उनको समझ आ जाना चाहिए कि हमें क्या महसूस हो रहा होगा. बट अगर हम खुद ही उसको लेबल नहीं कर रहे हैं या कर नहीं पा रहे हैं या फिर हम अपने आप को लिमिट कर रहे हैं वो उन्हीं 2-3 वर्ड्स के साथ, then that becomes something which compromises our ability to communicate effectively and to be able to rely on and utilize the support systems that you have created across your life in a way that you can get the kind of help that you need, especially in developing more perspectives in difficult situations, trying to solve problems, trying to make sure that you're being able to release the emotional buildup that happens within you. So, to be able to do that, to be able to ensure that you can communicate more effectively with people around you, understanding those emotions becomes very important. Besides the fact that you need to understand the emotions, you need to start labeling them, you need to use a broader vocabulary to start labeling them. I think what's also important to start understanding is that एक सिचुएशन में सिर्फ एक इमोशन नहीं हम एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं. टिपिकली लोग जब बात करते हैं किसी भी सिचुएशन के बारे में, एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में, वो उसको एक ही इमोशनल स्टेट के साथ एसोसिएट करते हैं. बट यूजुअली आप नोटिस करेंगे कि जब आप डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस में से निकलते हैं, you end up having multiple emotional experiences. You can feel happy and yet sad at the same time. Because a part of the situation can make you feel something which is really good, and at the same time उसी situation में एक ऐसा aspect भी हो सकता है जो आपको काफी troubling रख सकता है. Knowing this piece is very important, and that's the importance lies in two aspects. One, because it allows you to more fully understand what is happening with you, and secondly also that it will not create any confusion in your own mind as to why is it that I keep on experiencing these shifts in my emotional state. Any kind of extreme shift, of course, is something that you need to be wary of and you need to work on by developing the right kind of emotion regulation skills. But at the same time, minor shifting of emotions is something which is normal. And that is normal because, like I said, in every situation, you are likely to experience different types of emotions. You're also likely to experience an emotion at different intensities across similar situations. And no two people will have the same emotional experience in a given situation. So, अगर आप एक सिचुएशन में हैं और आपके पार्टनर या आपके फ्रेंड भी उसी सिचुएशन में से आपके साथ निकल रहे हैं, जरूरी नहीं है कि आप लोगों का एक्सपीरियंस सेम होगा. इस बात को ध्यान में रखना बहुत जरूरी है because this allows us to become more empathetic and understanding of what a situation may be doing to another person. And this is something which is very important also because we want people to be able to ensure that they are taking care of their not just their own selves but also of people around them. That is how you create the right kind of supportive communities. You build resilience within communities, within systems, by bringing people together to be able to understand each other. That care, that support is something very essential. And when you have it at the back of your mind कि मेरा experience और मेरे दोस्त का experience या फिर मेरा experience और मेरे family member का experience अलग हो सकते हैं, and both of those experiences can be valid, it allows you to be able to be more supportive towards the other individual, because then you don't raise questions on आप ऐसे क्यों सोच रहे हैं या फिर आप ऐसे क्यों महसूस कर रहे हैं, ये ठीक नहीं है या ये गलत है. Sometimes, in a moment when a person is going through an emotional aspect, it is important to take that step back, allowing them to be able to share more fully what is it that is going on through them. When you do this for another, they are also more likely to do the same for you. When you are settled, when the other person is settled, communicating and talking about that situation tends to be a far better way of moving forward because it allows you to be able to take a more problem solving orientation at that time. When the emotional states tend to settle down, you will be able to look at the situation from a little distance so that you can try and reflect on इस situation में क्या क्या components थे, किस तरह से इसको differently देखा जा सकता था, किस तरह से इसको differently handle किया जा सकता था. जब वो इमोशनल एक्सपीरियंसेस की अवेयरनेस होगी, अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी, लेबल सही होंगे, साथ में एम्पथी होगी फॉर ईच अदर्स एक्सपीरियंसेस, इट्स ओनली देन दैट यू कैन स्टार्ट टेकिंग अ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग अप्रोच एज वेल टू द डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस दैट you are going through or another person who is with you is going through. This is something which is very, very important. It's very essential that we keep on emphasizing these aspects because these are the ones that allow us to be able to maintain our own sense of well-being and our own sense of resilience across situations. आज के दिन में अगर हम देखें, हम जब पैंडेमिक के दौरान निकले हैं, 18-19 महीने से हम लोगों ने इतनी मुश्किलों को देखा है. People have struggled to cope. They have struggled to cope because somewhere a lot of difficult emotions and thoughts were getting generated within us. And a lot of times we were not aware of what do we do. What we need to do, especially when you're having a difficult situation around you, is accept the emotional state that you are experiencing. You may feel that you want to deny it, you may feel that you want to distance yourself from it, but that does not help because it does not allow you to adapt to the situation that you are in. Adaptability comes from acceptance. अगर आप चीज़ों को एक्सेप्ट करेंगे, उनको स्वीकार करेंगे कि ये मेरे साथ हो रहा है, ये मेरे अंदर इस तरह का एक इमोशन क्रिएट कर रहा है, एक थॉट क्रिएट कर रहा है, मेरे लिए मुश्किल हो रही है, तभी आप उसके लिए एक सोल्यूशन ढूंढने में भी समर्थ हो सकेंगे आगे चल के। जब आप अपनी एनर्जीज को डायरेक्ट कर रहे हैं टुवर्ड्स डिनाइंग एन इमोशनल स्टेट, टुवर्ड्स गेटिंग योरसेल्फ टू मूव अवे फ्रॉम दैट इमोशन, then you are not focusing on what can you do in that situation. So your ability to be able to solve for what you're finding yourself in gets compromised. And that tends to affect your overall life, the quality of life that you have. Because it keeps on putting you in a circular loop where you are getting stuck with the emotion and the problem situation. And somewhere it starts creating a feeling of helplessness within you कि कोई चीज़ें मुझसे ठीक हो नहीं रही है, मेरे अंदर वो कैपेबिलिटी नहीं है, एंड देन समवेयर इट कैन ऑल्सो मेक यू फील completely hopeless कि ये चीज़ें तो कभी ठीक होंगी ही नहीं. And which is why taking care of these aspects become very important, because we always need to remember that when you're feeling stuck and when it feels like something may not resolve, maybe you're developing a tunnel vision. आप चीज़ों को सिर्फ एक तरीके से देख रहे हैं, एक नज़रिए से देख रहे हैं, इस वजह से आपके अंदर एक थॉट प्रोसेस क्रिएट हो रहा है जिसमें आपको लग रहा है कि कोई भी चीज़ें बदलेंगी नहीं, कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा. एंड इसमें आ जाता है रोल आपके आसपास के लोगों का. Your emotional well-being is always going to also have a very strong component of what others around you are like and what is it that they do when they see you struggling. So it's very important to surround yourself with the right kind of people, that when you find yourself stuck, when you are developing that tunnel vision, they are people who will not just contribute to the problem, but instead they will be people who will hear you, understand you, accept what is going with you, and simultaneously help you start looking at things from a different perspective. This aspect of creating the right support systems is very, very crucial to your emotional well being. So, building good emotional health would require that while you're working on your own understanding, labeling, and making sure that you have a good perspective on things, you keep on trying to shift yourself from the emotions to also look at how a problem solving approach can be taken, to ensuring that you also have the right kind of people around you. This component becomes very critical because, like I was saying earlier as well, that ensuring you have people around you who you can talk to and share with will always help. Whether they can help you resolve a situation or not, just the fact that you have people around you can in itself become a very, very big support system, because you may just feel that you are understood. That feeling of understanding and knowing what you're going through is not something which is too out of the ordinary, or not something which needs to be looked down upon, or which is something incorrect or not okay, can be very helpful in giving you the hope that yes, this is fine and things will change and it would get better. And sometimes having others around you can also help you develop the kind of optimism that you need in order to be able to keep moving forward. There are also certain other things which you need to start doing for your own self, which would allow you to be able to build the right kind of good emotional health for your own self. Something that we keep talking about is taking care of your own self. Self care is something which is very crucial to ensure that your emotional health is good. And that self care involves allowing yourself to set the right kind of boundaries for you. A lot of times, people's emotional health, their well-being gets compromised also because they're not being able to necessarily stand up and say that this is something that I cannot do, or this is a situation where I am feeling pressure, या फिर मेरे साथ जो सिचुएशन हो रही है वो मुझ पे बहुत ज़्यादा मेरे अंदर तनाव क्रिएट कर रही है, स्ट्रेस क्रिएट कर रही है, मैं इसको मैनेज नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ या नहीं कर पा रही हूँ. एंड it's the fact that sometimes you're not being able to draw those boundaries, whether it is at work, whether it is at home, in your relationships with friends, families. That is where somewhere you need to start taking a more proactive role in trying to build your own emotional health. Learning to say no, understanding what your boundaries are, Being assertive, not aggressive. Having the rationale very clear in your mind as to why you're saying no for something is always going to be very helpful in ensuring that you are being able to take care of yourself. Simultaneously, what is going to be important is to find more time for your own self. जिंदगी की मुठभेड़ में जब हम एक चीज से दूसरी चीज पे जा रहे होते हैं, हम हजारों चीजों में अपने आप को खो देते हैं. We forget to prioritize our own selves. Sometimes we have demands coming from our friends, sometimes from our family members, sometimes from work people, sometimes we just feel that there is a pressure. अब ये भी करना है, इसको भी देखना है, ये वाली चीज भी करनी है, and we don't slow down. Slowing down that pace, making a conscious effort to take out time for your own self is very crucial for your own well being. That is one place where you cannot compromise at all. Because in order to ensure that your emotional mental health is taken care of, you have to start finding time for the things that you like. Because those are what enable you to be able to unwind and relax at the end of a hectic day. Pressures in life will always be there. Stresses in life will always be there. ऐसा कभी समय नहीं आएगा जब हमारे ऊपर किसी तरह का तनाव नहीं होगा या फिर हमें ये नहीं लगेगा कि हमको ये एक्टिविटी देखनी है या फिर ये चीज करनी है. बट अपने आप को अगर हम पेस करना सीख जाएंगे और अपना ख्याल रखना सीख जाएंगे, सो वी कैन इंश्योर दैट दो स्ट्रेसेस do not lead us to start experiencing problems like anxiety, excessive worrying, that they don't lead to the precipitation of problems like low moods and excessive disturbances in sleep. Because that is when you are going to expose yourself or make yourself vulnerable to the possibility of developing a mental health related illness. So it's very important that you start becoming more consciously aware of these aspects. Focus on taking care of your health, physical health, emotional health, mental health. They're all closely linked to each other. So, while we are talking about building emotional health, it's also important that you keep focusing on the physical health aspect also. Get adequate sleep. Make sure that you follow a certain rhythmicity to your sleep related hygiene. That's something which is very essential. Don't compromise on that. It will allow you to be able to function more effectively. Make sure that you take out time for exercise, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Could be yoga, could be pranayam, could be exercise, proper physical exercise where you can be doing weight training, where you could be doing zumba, aerobics, anything that you enjoy. Could be a walk, could be a jog. You should make sure that you're finding time for that physical activity as well. Make sure that you're exposing yourself to the natural environment. Of course, with all precautions, taking all safety measures. We are still in the pandemic, there is still COVID out there. We all need to still be very cautious. Keeping that in mind, yet you need to have some exposure to the outside environment. Nature is something which is very important to our well being, and we need to find ways to do that. Integrate some soothing activities into your routines. If you like gardening, if you like cooking, if you like art, if you like any sort of activity which has a creative side to it, it's something that would always be helpful. You could write, you could paint, you could do carpentry, anything. Finding some amount of time for that is very essential, and you must focus on this. These parts of your self care are going to be very critical in ensuring that you're being able to take care of your own self, your emotional health, your well being. So, just to bring it all together, there are some things that you need to keep in mind when you're looking at good emotional health. Understand what's happening to you. Learn to label your emotions. Remember that people's emotional experiences can be different across different situations. And also remember that we need to be empathetic towards each other so that we don't judge each other, we don't keep pushing each other to rethink what we are feeling. Embrace, accept the emotions that you're having. मेक श्योर कि आपके आसपास जो लोग हैं वो सपोर्ट सिस्टम्स बहुत अच्छे हैं, सॉलिड हैं, आपको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, आपको एक डिफरेंट वेंटेज पॉइंट देने की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड साथ में मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली, find time for your own self. Take care of your own self, your emotional health. It's something which is in your control. And make sure that you learn to set the right boundaries for your own self to be able to be well and good and emotionally healthy. So, these are some things which you can do in order to build good emotional health for your own self. Thank you so much for joining the live today.